Running live video. Ah, there we go. Hey, I'm Robert Pearson. This is Follow the Leader, and I'm doing another book review thing. I'm going through a few chapters. John Bevere's book, X, Multiply Your God-Given Potential. It's for pre-order now on, oh, my brain just went blank. It's on his website. I think it's messengerinternational.com, if you're interested. Yeah, so I've just been going through it. It's a good book so far. I like it. I basically never buy books after a men's conference, and a lot of the points he was hitting on are things I agree with strongly, and I've never really heard anywhere else. And that kind of means something, because I listen to Christian radio preachers almost every day, just as I'm driving in my car. And I grew up in church, so I have a literal lifetime of sermons that I've listened to. And you don't really hear the kind of message he has here often. So, yeah, I grabbed was part of the launch team. The book's not actually out yet. It's on pre-order. It'll be out November 17th, which is pretty cool. And then the launch team package gets you a couple books to give away. And some of the little card things, which I've been going through one at a time over on Periscope, because I'm just playing around. I don't know how the internet works. I'm figuring this out for myself. So anyway, I've been going through the book and a couple chapters a day as I get time. And I just want to go through some of the stuff that he talks about. So the last two chapters I went through were faith and, like last night, not last video or whatever. So yeah, faithful and diligence, right? Yeah, diligence and multiplication. So, 1,000-foot flyover, it's important to be faithful. That you take the little bit that you're given, and when you prove faithful with it, God's going to trust you with more of your talents, of your gifts, of your resources, just as a general principle. But he really hones in on the parable of the talents and spends that whole chapter to kind of expand that idea and to show how God rewards the producers. He rewards those who multiply. They took his gift that he gave them, the talents the master gave them, and they were faithful, and faithful meant multiplying the talents that they were given instead of just sitting on it and doing nothing. Talents here being skills and ability that you have, or resources that you've been given by God to manage, and then managing them well, or using your gifts and talents and abilities. As an example, I'm a handy guy, I can fix things. I'm an electrician currently, and I've thus far been blessed in that career field. So yeah, that's his main thing, is showing how to dig into it. And then he showed also the next chapter after that, diligence. It talks about it's not going to be an overnight trip for you. It's not going to just be handed to you because you were faithful. Oh, you did a good job. And so he uses the story of his first book publishing, how he wrote, God calls him to be a writer, and he's like, okay, God, I'm terrible at this. And God's like, no, you're going to be a writer, okay. So he starts writing books, and nobody wants them. And he self-published the books, and he can't sell any of them. And then on his third book, finally, God sets him up, and it winds up being a roller coaster right after that. But he had to be faithful in the short term with other people's ministries, and then he had to be diligent to continue, even though there was little fruitfulness in his the endeavor that God put before him, before he saw any real fruit. So that was it. Those two chapters. He takes a while. I feel like he could have. The chapter on diligence, the end of the chapter, I feel like he got a little lost in telling his story, and it needed a paragraph or three at the end of that chapter, tying it back into application for us as a reader. That, basically just what I said, to be diligent and to trust that God is faithful and reward you for your efforts, but you need to be faithful with the little bit that you have, because what feels like a long time for you is a short time in the grand scheme of things for God. Mr. Bevere here is on like 22 books or something, he said at the conference. He just cranks them out. But anyway, so at the time though, it was like 3 books in. He's like, oh God, this isn't going anywhere, but I keep writing and being faithful and speaking and, packaging and mailing books out and doing cassette lessons and stuff. And God finally allowed a great success on that. So, yeah, it was cool. The lesson there obviously being one that can be witnessed throughout Scripture, right? The trees, right? No tree, no matter how big the mighty oak is, doesn't just show up overnight. It has to grow gradually. It has to have a deep root structure in order for it to raise up and begin to bear fruit from good soil. So it's the same way with ministries or businesses or any kind of endeavor that you're pursuing. It's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of stress, a lot of strain, and a lot of care and focus. And you just have to trust that God pays his debts. Not that he owes you anything, right? But that when you work hard, when you plow the ground, when you plant a seed, God is the one who provides that growth. And you plant an apple tree with expectation of receiving apples. Yeah, it's probably going to be 3 years of pruning before you get your first crop of, edible apples. And just to be ready for that and be faithful and diligent through that. So, yeah, that's it. It's pretty good so far. It's a decently quick read. I'm not a fast reader. I'm not. I can understand very abstract concepts, but I'm the slowest reader. I enjoy reading. I like reading, and I'm good at reading, but I'm just not fast at reading. It's terrible. I will consume audiobooks, though. I'll spend a whole day at work mounting boxes, pulling wire, wiring up three-way switches, trying to solve problems while I listen to, like, Augustine of Hippo on an audiobook, and catch, maybe 70% of it as I'm working. But it's just books for some reason, man. My brain does not let me read very quickly. But yeah, I'm getting through it. My goal is to have it done by Friday. We'll see. I'm halfway through now, so I'm probably gonna have to start pushing like 3 or 4 chapters at a time to get it done. But yeah, it's good. It's a good book so far. The messages that I haven't heard before are actually earlier in the book. I'm obviously multiplying, right? It's an outpouring of your faithfulness that your gifts and your talents would multiply, which is interesting. But I mean, it's right there in Scripture, right? The servants that multiplied their talents were said, "You have been faithful." So some element of our faith is multiplying things. This is right there. The other thing, though, is that there is no secular divide, right? Everything that a Christian does is sacred. We're a royal priesthood, and so everything we do then is therefore priestly service in some way. And so you take Christ into the workplace, and it's not just telling people about Jesus. It may just be fixing a toilet well, or doing lawyer stuff well. I don't know what lawyers do, or engineer, or whatever it is that your occupation is. Even especially the highest office in the land of a stay-at-home mom, where you're literally building human beings from scratch and molding the young hearts and minds of humans, which I hope are amazing, good, godly humans, because that makes the whole world more godlier and better. So yeah, it's the most important job anyone can have, and our society currently denigrates it. It's upsetting. But kudos to Mr. Bevere. He actually lists right next to doctors and actors and athletes and stuff the stay-at-home moms, which is awesome. You don't see that often. I do have one beef. He just doesn't mention blue-collar guys at all. I'm this far into the book, and so far, so far he's mentioned a machinist once. And then a paragraph later, when he does a callback to that list that included machinist, he doesn't mention a factory. It's just like he mentions doctors and teachers and machinists, and then he later on comes back to, so when you go to the office or to school, doesn't mention factory. It's just funny to me. It's funny. I wrote a book, and that's what my book is about, is that folks like this keep accidentally forgetting blue-collar guys exist. It's called The Blue Collar Blind Spot. It's coming out. We got another couple weeks before we have the test prints in hand, and I can, we make sure it wasn't printed upside down or something, because we don't know how to use Lulu correctly. But then, yeah, we'll be off to the races. It's going to be fun. That's all I've got. Definitely, if you're interested, pick up a copy. Just Google John Bevere Messenger, right? Yeah, I keep second-guessing myself as soon as I say words out loud. It's Messenger International. I know things. It's Messenger International. John Bevere. Google it. He'll pop up probably first thing. And pick it up. It's on pre-order now. And yeah, that's all I got. Godspeed.